looking out for love in the night so still. Oh, how build you a kingdom in that house on the hill, looking out for love, big, big love.
What's going on, you bunch of larrikins? The day has finally come where we get to unveil the new 80 series. So for those who have been following along for a little while, you might know I've picked up a brand new, well, 1997 1FZ FE 80 series. I sold my existing one, which is the 1HZ Turbo, same year, 1997, and I've upgraded to this bad boy right here. And quick side note, this is actually the second time I've had to film this video, because the first time my camera settings were all wrong and incorrect, and it looked like a potato in a microwave had a baby. So fingers crossed the quality is a little bit better now. So what we'll do is we'll start off with a brief history of the car from what I know. We'll do a quick run through from front to back, and then we'll talk about the future and mods and etc., all that fun stuff. So yeah, let's get right into some background on this vehicle. So one of the first things you might notice is this big Land Cruiser RV sticking down the side. Now, it's not the GXL model, not the DX, but the RV, which is a bit of an unknown. And from what I've found with my limited bit of research and understanding, this is the model below the GXL and above the DX. And I can't seem to find much of a difference between this specific one and the GXL. A few key points would be there's no side strip that says Land Cruiser 4-wheel drive or whatever it says. First difference. The second thing is some people say they don't have electric windows, whereas mine has electric windows all round and central locking. So I'm a little bit confused on that one. If you do happen to know any more differences, let me know in the comments below. And as I said before, it's the mighty 1FZ FE. So that's the inline six, naturally aspirated, fuel guzzling, piece of absolute tractor motor. And this thing honestly goes quite well for what it is. And to be honest, I never saw myself buying a petrol. I've always been a diesel guy, like my previous one being a 1HZ Turbo. My Patrol before that was a ZD30, common rail diesel, so don't come at me for it being a grenade. And yeah, I never really liked petrols that much, especially in four-wheel drives, mainly for the fact that you don't have all the download torque, guzzles fuel, and there's just something about the diesel soot, you know? So getting back into the history of this thing, I'm pretty sure it was originally purchased in Rockhampton and then somehow made its way down to Sydney, which is where I picked it up. And I think only 2 owners before me, which is pretty good for this kind of vehicle and what you see and the limited stuff that's been done to it. It's very, very grandpa spec. And that's pretty much the goal I had in mind for buying another 80 series, was just grandpa spec. And looking at this thing, it is so clean. Like, you can't get any more standard than that. But yeah, that's my basic understanding of the history of this thing. It's got 400,000 Ks on it, on the 1FZ, still going strong. I've had a few complications initially driving it, which you'll see in the next episode next week. I'll chuck in a little sneak peek of that now. You might be wondering why everything looks a little bit wet. Right as I pulled up, it started to all piss out pretty hard. But moving on, we're gonna go from front to back on this thing, do a quick run through, and we'll show you what it's got. So you can't call it a grandpa spec 80 series without one of these alloy bull bars. This thing is absolutely not functional at all. One kangaroo and this thing turns into a crinkle can, but I don't care about that. Again, I just wanted something stock, and here it is. Moving on, you might be able to see this little hair follicle of an antenna. Somehow this still works, and the GME inside the car, which has got to be at least 150 years old, still works, and it gets the job done for now. It's got a nice little bonnet protector, standard headlights, no spotties. I mean, this front end is as stock as it gets. And a little bonus feature for some of you guys out there with 80 series, it still has the factory antenna intact somehow. All right, now those with a keen eye will spot something very subtle. The bonnet. It's closed right now, but for some reason it looks like it's not closed. Now, I've got 3 guesses as to why this is an issue. First one is the gas strut underneath has not been mounted correctly, and it's adding some weird levels and play to it. The second one is the bonnet is not secured straight and it's on a bit of an angle, causing it to twist. And the third reason is the car might have been in a minor accident causing the bonnet to twist or something like that. Now, I'm really hoping it's not the third, but also there might be a few indicators as to why that could be the case. but we'll get into that later. Alrighty, now down to the wheels and tires. I'm pretty sure these are some 40th anniversary wheels, which is pretty cool. Correct me if I'm wrong, I could be completely wrong, but from my research, 40th anniversary wheels, which is very cool. Then they're wrapped in some Falcon Wild Peak all-terrains, which are a nice affordable tire. I did run these on my patrol when I had it, and I've had no issues with these ones since. But very shortly, in the bin they go, and we'll put a new set of 40-inch tires on it. I'm just kidding, I'll get defected. And you can't really see, but up underneath here, I think we've got a sagged 2-inch Tough Dog suspension lift. The reason I say that is it sits a little bit higher, feels a bit boatier. It's got Tough Dog coils and Tough Dog shocks from about 1855. These things are rooted, and I'm pretty sure the suspension coils are just absolutely sagged. But other than that, the suspension is absolutely bog stock, nothing been done to it. And again, just the perfect canvas for what I want to do with this thing. Now coming around to the back of this thing, super standard and exactly what I wanted again. I'm pretty sure we also have these late model flares, which are a little bit wider, same as the GXL flares. And they honestly are in perfect condition, like couldn't be any more immaculate. All of the rubber seals are still there, still intact, no peeling going on. And I can see my reflection in them. So very good condition for the flares. Even just a sneaky note, like the wheel well underneath of pretty much all of the wheels is almost immaculate. There's a general wear and tear of rocks flying up and smacking into it, but really no rips or tears or whatever the wheel wells start to do when the skin falls away. None of that. You can see the chassis in here as well, and it's super clean, no rust on it anywhere. So I couldn't really be happier when it comes to the chassis and the overall body of this thing. And the mud flaps are all intact as well. Now I hope the sun isn't too harsh behind me. Probably is, I'm not really good at this whole camera thing, but standard back end of the car. Down the bottom here, we have this TJM tow bar, which again is very low clearance and POV, and I'll be getting it out of there very shortly. But it did come with this nice aftermarket wheel carrier, which unfortunately won't be able to hold the tire that I'm gonna be mounting onto this thing. So that'll probably have to go into the bin or be sold, etc. But yeah, standard tailgate, no dents in it, no scratches. Even the little lock back here works. So that's pretty much it for the exterior of the car. So we'll jump on into the interior and I'll give you a quick walk around. Alrighty, so welcome to the interior of the 80 series. Now I think the best way to show this off is just a bit of B-roll because I'm filming by myself, so it's kind of hard to get the camera in here while I talk. So you just have to bear with me a little bit. I'm gonna start from left to right, front to back, and yeah, we'll get into it. So one of my favorite things about the 80 series is this handle right here. Perfect for the passengers when you take them wheeling. If they get scared, grab onto that bad boy. Then the whole sort of middle section of the car, completely standard, no aftermarket switches. There is a single DIN Kenwood head unit here, which is super basic. A lot of room for expansion. And this is my favorite thing down here. The really ancient GME radio. Somehow this thing still works and it's pretty good. The sound quality is absolutely terrible. The microphone quality is shocking, but it gets the job done and I can't really complain about it. This thing will definitely be going on the shelf once I rip it out. You already know I had to go with a manual. Absolutely cannot be driving an automatic. I'm not a child. Manuals are for real men, and of course I'm one of them, so had to pick it up in a manual. And it also gives me a lot less things to go wrong. Like I am very familiar that the 1FZ FE automatics are pretty shocking. Manual just gives you a lot more control, especially with these older vehicles. And then the actual dash itself, completely standard. This thing has no gauges. It's just ticked over 400,000 Ks, so barely run in. And just a quick note, for 400,000 Ks, like this thing is very clean. I'm super happy again with this thing. I couldn't be more grateful that I'm in a position to be able to buy it as well. And I more importantly wanted to buy this car and start from scratch so I could document it all on YouTube and really get you guys around it and interact with the videos and have some input as well into what you'd like to see in this thing. And then of course, no Grandpa Spec 80 series is complete without some woolly seats. That's just what you get when you buy old and you've had older owners, etc. For some reason, they all come with the sheep wool seat covers, and I don't know why, but they're pretty cool. I kind of want to leave them in, but they're really gross, so I will end up getting rid of them. Razorback, if you want to send me some, feel free to. And probably the most insane bit of kit in this whole interior, the gear sticks around. It still has it. These things go for $1,001 on eBay and mine still has it. So I'm super lucky. It's in perfect condition, no scratches, no nothing. Super happy again. The back of the car, got the standard second row of seats, and it did come with a third row of seats, which were in immaculate condition. I might have some photos of them. They're actually for sale as well. So if you do want a third row, message me on Instagram and we'll get that sorted for you. And we'll just quickly jump into the boot of the car, which has some spicy bits I want to show you before we end this video. All right, I'll be quick and I'll try not to smack my head on this tailgate too many times, but underneath all these rags is suspension, wheels, and not tires, but tires are back home. And yeah, I just want to quickly give you a sneak peek into what we've got going on here. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Superior Engineering. They have jumped on board a little bit with this to help out, which is greatly appreciated. I'm super glad they see a lot of potential in Lifted Larrikins as a whole. And while they haven't supplied the whole kit, like don't get me wrong, I did have to pay a lot of money for all of this suspension. They still helped out quite a bit for where we're at right now, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. But yeah, sneak little peek, some big remote resis inside of this box. It's about all I want to give you right now for suspension. Now this is going to be one of my most favorite parts of the whole build. We're talking about wheels. You won't be able to see it from this camera, but I'll chuck in some B-roll of what we're looking at now. These things are absolutely insane. Huge shout out to All Terrain Industries. They hooked us up here. Again, I still had to pay for the majority of the items here, but they did help us out. And again, they saw potential within Lifted Larrikins, so I'm super grateful for that. Now, while I'm talking about all these parts and sponsored bits, etc., I just quickly want to touch on the subject as it's pretty big in the four-wheel drive industry at the moment. You've got a bunch of guys selling out to companies and promoting all this junk that they chuck in their four-wheel drives that isn't useful, doesn't work, people don't like it, all that stuff. So right as I was wrapping up that last bit, the camera died, which is awesome. But yeah, all I wanted to say about sponsors is yes, there's going to be some on the channel. No, they're not going to be sellouts, and they're going to be businesses that I was going to use regardless. If the business doesn't want to jump on board, I'm still going to pay full price for them. And it's more just of a, hey, if you want to work with us, let's do it. If not, all good, and we'll continue on. But yeah, that's the end of the video. I really hope you enjoyed. I hope the video quality is a bit better than what I tried to shoot yesterday, and the audio is better as well because I picked these bad boys up yesterday. Make sure you stay up to date on our Instagram, and also check out the website right here. This is our on tour hoodie, which actually features my old 80 series on the back. We'll be dropping more designs in the future. It's sort of just the case of, I don't know how to design. I can do basic things and that's about it. So stay up to date on our website, our YouTube, and our Instagram. And I hope everyone is just as keen as I am to see what's to come of this big 80 series. So thanks a lot for watching. If you stuck all the way to the end, can't thank you enough because every single view really helps. And make sure you stay tuned for next week's episode where we tackle the absolutely disgusting swivel hubs on this thing and fix it all up. But I just want to let you know I filmed that video before I did this one, before the car was in Canberra. And yeah, just so you don't get too confused, that's the backstory on that. Anyway, enough yapping. We'll see you next week.